got a couple requests to talk more about this Vevor arbor press here. Now, just like anything else, there's certain things where there's an entry level. Things like this Harbor Freight press here, this is the 20 ton, they do have a 12 ton version. What you'll find is there's a certain entry level where these guys seem to come in and take that market. If you're looking for a professional press, you know, in the 20 ton or 3 ton like this range, you're automatically looking at $1,000 for, you know, a professional high quality press. Now this is where these guys come in. They try and, you know, elbow their way into the market so they can take that share. You know, guys like me, I'm just doing, you know, a couple black powder rockets. That's about it. You know, maybe some U-joints and stuff like that. So I'm not trying to spend, you know, $1,000, $1,500 on a press. So this is where this comes in. Now this thing comes on a little pallet. It's pretty well packaged. All the pieces are just kind of put in there and flopped around from shipping, you know, coming over on a container from China. They're just everywhere. You got a couple little press pieces like this, you know, that are just kind of lazily thrown in the box. Not a big deal. I actually took mine and lag bolted it to my bench here to give it a little bit more rigidity, because you really got to pull on these things to get, you know, up to 3 tons. And another thing is, you're not going to get 3 tons out of this by pulling on this. You know, I weigh about 180, well, 160 now, but the problem is this handle needs to be way extended. And the other problem here is, I'd like to show, this is the ratcheting mechanism. Now this is just a little, you know, it's a little pawl here. And if we look, we can see that it's bent. It's a jalopy off to one side. Also, if we take a closer look here at this, you know, some of these teeth are bent already. So this is definitely not a high quality, you know, hardened piece of metal. You know, and that's the price point. I mean, can you build one for $300 or whatever this costs? No, you can't. So you got to take a little and give a little. So mounting it to the bench definitely helps, because you're not going to be able to pull on this and get a good press force out of it just freestanding. It's just not going to happen. So a couple things I like to talk about here. This thing is jalopy. It's loose. You know, it's there's not a tight spot on this thing. Now you can mess with these to tighten it this way, tighten it this way. I'm just pressing, you know, low precision stuff here, so I didn't really mess with it. There's a couple other videos on that where you can put a plate of steel in here and tighten it so it gives a better force. You know, mine, I got kind of lucky. It actually sits pretty flat. You know, it's not a huge deal for what I'm using it for. The wheel, you know, this thing is jalopy. There's not very precise machining going on inside here. The other problem I run into is, even when you put this collar on with the retainer, the way that this, when you pull this arm down, this engages here. It's not a double shear. So I don't know if we can kind of see this, but when I pull on it, this ratchet mechanism goes that way, which then forces this way. So if you put this all the way to the end and tighten the crap out of it, when you press it once, this collar is going to walk off because of this side loading here. Now you can take this apart. You know, I've taken this off and kind of sanded these surfaces down and made it a little better, but my initial thought was to press this collar on and then weld it, but you know, with how, you know, janky and jalopy this is, I wanted to be able to easily replace this and this. So, you know, I don't know, is it worth $300? Yeah, but you know, you're not building a space station with it. So the other thing is, oops, these are the bolts that come in the ratcheting mechanism, same one that goes here. So this one's, you know, already bent. So I pulled it out and put a stainless one in there with a washer to kind of take a little bit of the side load off of it. But you know, this is, I don't know, it's jalopy. So is it worth buying for pressing rockets, even though you got to do a little bit of work to it? Yeah, I mean, you got to have it. You can't make one for less. You can't make a better one for less anyway. So is it worth $300? Yeah. Is it worth, you know, modifying and making it to what you want? Yeah, it's definitely worth it, but just remember, it's built to a price point. You know, you're not going to be doing any high precision stuff with this right out of the box. I mean, you know, it's janky. You know, it's a loosey goosey, but for, you know, little 5/16 rockets and stuff like that, it's more than sufficient. So I guess in conclusion, yeah, it's worth it, but man, you're just you gotta understand that you're getting what you pay for here.